Okay, good. You sharing? You sharing? All right.
Yes.
Tass.
How are things?
Busy, man.
Do you believe it was 60 degrees in Wisconsin yesterday in the middle of December?
No.
Yeah. Might have been a record. I haven't looked yet. There was no sun, but 60 degrees, man. And 3 days before we had 3 inches of snow.
Did you break a record?
Don't know. For snow?
Then
for weather?
It's not even relevant information unless you broke a record.
Okay, fine. Somebody can look it up on the show and let us know. I need a team. I need a team of people to look that up for me.
Tass, this is the last show of the year.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So what does that mean?
Well, it means can you finally give some of the school owners in the martial arts industry some good information that they can do something with?
I always give good information. They just don't do anything with it. So, I mean, how about that?
Okay. Truth hurts.
Hey, I'm teasing everybody. I mean, if the shoe fits, as they say, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck. Hey, Madison, Wisconsin breaks record for warmest December day ever recorded. So yes, it was record breaking.
That's incredible. There might be something to this. There might be something to this global warming.
Yeah, I know. It's that spray deodorant and hairspray you use.
I used
aerosols.
to. I was the gel king. With my structure sweaters.
Oh man. All right. Hey, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson's on. He has great news. He broke his credit card machine. He charged too much. That was great news for him.
Really?
True story. Yeah.
Mr. Johnson, last one of the year. Last one?
Yeah, last one.
Best one.
Best one.
That's it. That is it. So good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It's good to see everybody on for our last little show of the year and give you some advice. And today is single school owners building a team. But even if you have a team, you might not be building it the right way. So maybe we'll give some insight on that. Or
Do you
not.
even have any merit given advice about how to build a team? I mean, what qualifies you to do that?
I'm not saying I am qualified to do that.
But if you were qualified, why do you think you're qualified?
Our average employee has been with us over 15 years, the longest being 27 years or 28 years and multiple over 20 years. And the average has come down a little because we've been on a hiring frenzy. So we have a lot of newbies that's been with us for, a year and a half.
Dude, I don't. And by the way, you're not talking 2-3 employees. You're talking on average over all of your people in tenure. I mean, I don't know if people understand that's unbelievable. I mean, that's an unbelievable thing to be able to pull off.
So we'll talk about.
Yes, we'll talk about everyone knows I was giving him a hard time about that because he does have an incredible staff, an incredible team. I don't like the word staff, right? But incredible team, and has had incredible retention. But there's some reasons why that I still try and emulate today that are very. I think they're. I don't know if they're. I think they have to be intentional. I think the things that you do have to be intentional. There's some people that may have a natural way of doing these things, and you'll talk maybe about temperament a little bit and just culture maybe a little bit. But I think if you don't have what you want, then you don't have the knack, and it becomes intentional, and you have to focus on it, and you have to educate yourself on how to do it, and maybe look at it from a different lens. I know that's been. I'm guilty. That we've had that conversation several times.
Yeah, well, let's first talk about Kling. What's up? Let's first just talk about
hey, Kling.
If you are a single school
good,
owner.
Mr. Johnson.
What? Oh, Jamar. Okay, great. If you are a single school owner, how do you build a team? And then, by the way, for those of you who are not a single school owner and you have a team, let's talk about that too for longevity, right? But if you're a single school owner, the first thing is, here we go. Let's just put that up. The
Are
first
you going to talk
thing,
about when do you think you need a team?
well, I think we start at the bottom. I mean, let's just talk about, you know, if you're running a one-man show, if you have, if you get to a point where you're at 60 students, 70 students, you need to start
Right.
building a team. And so here's what a team isn't. Okay. Don't ever, this is a concept, but don't waste your time dating someone that you don't think you possibly can marry. Right. And it's the same thing in your business. Like, don't put all this effort. And by the way, that's another thing. I don't think a lot of people put effort into building a team or bringing someone on. You have a black belt, you have an older student, and you say, hey, you want to help me out a little bit? And don't barter. Don't do the barter thing. That's not the way the world works, right? Yeah, you know, they work for me 3 days a week and they clean my school for me. That's not building a business. What professional business on this earth has people that just barter, right? I mean, we don't want to do that. Pay your people, number one. But I know what you're thinking. I can't afford to pay my people, maybe, right? Or what can I do? Well, the first thing is who do I hire first? Who do I get first? Well, if you're a single school owner, martial arts school owner, I got to assume that you are a martial artist, right? So you got the mat. You're the one probably teaching. So the first person you want to hire is not an assistant necessarily. It may be easier, right? Like, because you say, well, I have leadership students. They help me out. You know, that's fine. You can have leadership students that help you in class. But who's the first person you hire? It's going to be someone to help you in that office or the front end. And before you say I can't afford it, you can hire somebody for like 3 hours a day, 2 days a week starting out. Like Tuesdays and Thursdays, let's say, or Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And the reason I say Tuesday, Wednesday is because most of your students may come on a Monday, Wednesday, or a Tuesday, Thursday. So they're going to get to see everybody or the majority of your students, right? But on Tuesday, Wednesday, they come in from 5 to 8 p.m. and their only job is to build rapport, say hello to people coming in, follow up with leads, set appointments. Now, set appointments for who? Well, maybe set appointments for you, but maybe you're only available to meet people on Saturday. So maybe they're trying to book appointments on Saturday until you train them on how to do an enrollment, right? Or a renewal if you do renewals, or an upgrade if you do upgrades. But when you do that, let's say you paid somebody, to make numbers easy, $10 an hour. And maybe it's 15, 12, but let's just say $10 an hour. Well, that's 3 hours twice a week. That's $60 a week. All of you, if you're at 60 or 70 students, like I said, because up to that number, you can really run this yourself, but that's with the right schedule and the right business plan as far as how you can get appointments and accommodate that with your class schedule. But once you do that, I promise you that $60 a week is going to be tenfold in return on investment. And then you take that person that may go to 3 days a week. And eventually we want that part-timer every day. I'm making this up, 5 to 8 o'clock at night, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. So now they're working 15 hours a week. But for the majority of your students, they don't know if they're a full-timer. They don't know anything. So the next point in building a team is create consistency with your customers. Create consistency. The other big mistake is when you say, well, I got 4 people that help me. This person comes on Monday and Thursdays. This person's here on Tuesday, Wednesdays. I have this person helping me on Friday and Saturdays. Nobody knows what's going on. All you have done is hired or got help for convenience and not hired or got help for an investment. You got convenience because you got people there that can help you warm up a class or help take care of somebody, but not investment, where they know everything that's going on. They know what happened with that student yesterday or the day before, or that parent or these customers or this walk-in or this trial. Consistency. and the majority of you run your business from 4 or 5 to 8 or 9. The majority of your business is in that time. So part-time, eventually, hopefully leading to a full-time position. This is how you start building a team. But before we go on to keeping a team and motivating a team, Tass, what do you want to add as far as just building a team or how you get that going?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest question that we get, all the time is, when am I ready for that first person, right? And I think you said it. If you start getting to 50, 60 students, there's argument to say you can handle 100 students on your own, but you're going to be running your tail off. And so, I think you said it, the first person, whether that's a part-time program director or whatever, it's the easiest person for you to hire. And then we can go into, okay, well, now what do we do with that person? How do we keep those people? How do we get them, coming down the line and get into full-time and things like that? But that's going to free up some time for you because you said all this, but the biggest thing is you just don't have time for enrollments, or if you do upgrades, or if you're doing renewals. And some of you are going to say, well, yeah, this is why we do month-to-month programs, so we don't have to worry about that. And I will tell you, well, you could pay for your program director 5 times over, 10 times over if you did term programs and did programs versus memberships and upgrades, so on and so forth. So that's not a reason to have month-to-month memberships, because you don't have time to service your people. Just like as a side note, I want to make sure that I bring that up. So that's what I have to add.
Okay. And Mr. Weaver, this is good, because this is what's happening. Use technology as much as possible. My annual app fee software works way better than a single mom or dad who wants to help. Less headaches. That's out of context a little bit, because I would tell you, do not use technology in this context as much as possible at all for enrolling or renewing or upgrading or building rapport. Technology will never take the place of customer service and face-to-face rapport ever. And remember, you are correct here. Maybe it is better to use technology than to have the wrong person doing this stuff. Like, if you didn't train someone to answer your phone the proper way, it's better for it to go to voicemail than having somebody answer the phone in an unprofessional manner. And I don't mean an unprofessional manner where they're answering your phone saying hello, like not unprofessional in that way. Unprofessional in how to respond, how to set an appointment, what questions to answer, how to answer the questions. That's what I mean. It would be better to go to voicemail and let me call that person back, right? And if you want to build a team, if you want to build your business, you got to get out of your own way and really believe the saying that you cannot afford not to hire someone. I mean, and that's how we feel. I remember being a school owner. I remember thinking I can't afford it. Go ahead.
So walk us through that for a second. So I know we've had this conversation. I'm like, I just don't know if I want to bring this person on. And I think some of you and some of us, right, and me included, let me give a backstory first. When I was younger, my parents would always tell me, Shane, it's way easier to get a new job when you already have a job, right? And I was like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? So, of course, now I look back at that, it makes perfect sense. But I think we have this hesitancy with hiring somebody new. And my parents would also tell me, as I was a struggling martial arts school owner, which was my hobby, and I didn't have a real job. So they would say, listen, you don't have to do it forever, Shane. Just get a job so you can have some money right now. It doesn't have to be forever. And I was bullheaded about that. And I never wanted to go get a freaking job. I just wanted to make my martial arts school work. Like, I came up with excuses, and I was, creating ads every day and figuring out a way to make it work. My point is that some of us think we can't afford it. He's saying the same thing, but then walk us through, Metz, how much does it really cost? And how long are we on the hook for this so-called employee if things didn't go well or if things didn't go right?
As far as, what do you mean? How much are we on the hook for if they did not go?
Well, I think people think, well, geez, if I hire someone, it's forever, right?
Right.
And that's just not the case.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead. If you hire somebody who happens to be the wrong person.
Yeah. So listen, but we've talked about this on a salary level. If you bring somebody in on an annual salary and you bring them in, how much is it really costing you? If you were to hire somebody, and let's say somebody came in and said, look, let's say you found someone that's the perfect person. You think they're going to be outstanding, whether it's an instructor or a program director. You're a small school owner, but they go, look, I can't come on for less than $30,000 a year. Let's just pretend, right? Or let's say 30,000 a year. 30,000 a year, Tass, is what, 2,500 a month?
Yeah.
So let's just say, 30,000 a year, 2,500. So, all right. So if they say, look, I can't do it, and you're thinking, I can't afford to pay $30,000 a year. I can't afford to pay it. Do you think maybe over 90 days, 3 months, can we figure out how to come up with $7,500 over 90 days? Because if you plug this person in, right, how much more revenue can they generate in my school? Can I raise my gross revenue by $3,000 a month? I'm making this up. And now I'm making 500. Now forget taxes and all that stuff, but I'm making a point here. But let's say you hire this person, you just know they're going to make a difference. You just did a booth, you have all these leads, you don't have time to follow up on them, blah, 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 blah. Well, if you hire this person and in the first month your revenue jumps $1,000, well, now it only cost you $1,500 that month. And then the next month, what if they generate another 1,000 just because they're on top of these leads? They're doing appointments, they're getting enrollments, they're taking care of walk-ins, they're getting renewals. I mean, then you realize, okay, I can afford this. We could do this. This is unbelievable. But I'm not committing to $30,000 because if it's not working, if we're not going in the right direction, this is why we bring everybody in on a 90-day trial period. It's a temp job. And you do that in writing to avoid unemployment and everything else. We're not bringing you on totally. This is a temp job. It's a 90-day trial period, and we're going to see how it goes in 90 days, right? And by the way, anybody that wants to come on a salary, a lot of times for a small school owner, will say, okay, look, in 90 days, if it's working, I'll commit to the 30,000 or 24,000 or whatever that salary is. But if you know you can do it and you feel good for the first 90 days as you're getting trained and you're going through the process, you're going to get $12 an hour or $15 an hour. Or if they have another job and they say, look, but I can't do it, I have another job. Can you come in 2 days a week? Can you figure out with your other job? Can you work with me 2 days a week? Can you come in 1 day a week? If I really believe you're the person, but I can't commit, I'm just nervous. Can you come in 1 day a week? And let me see what you do in that 1 day a week. And if I see that, wow, the office is organized, you have all the leads, you have all the stats, you're building unbelievable rapport. All right, I want to commit to you. Let's try this out. And I'm committing to $2,500 a month is what I'm committing to at $30,000 a year. Okay, now let's say it is working. Let's say it is working. So how do we keep our team members 20 plus years, 27 years? How do we keep people? Once you start developing a team, you have to have a corporate structure. You have to. A lot of you listening to this are probably thinking, well, I got staff. I can go on vacation for a week and they got it. No, you don't got it. Most of you don't got it. What you got is a Band-Aid to stop bleeding for a week. But if I have an open wound that just won't stop bleeding, eventually that Band-Aid is going to come off and it's going to start bleeding out again, right? What we need to do is have people that can grow the business, not just run the business. And for those of you who hire people at a job level, meaning $12 an hour, $15 an hour, and that's it. I don't pay anybody's salary. Everyone's hourly. What you have is a Band-Aid. They are temporary. And they may be temporary for 5 years, but they're temporary. You're not going to keep those people for 20 plus years. You're not. And you're going to have to start over. But why? Why do that? Why even start over? Why don't you build a true company to where you build people up to where it's their career? They're going to bed at night wondering, stressing like you do, like, man, we lost 2 students last week. What am I going to do? If it's a job, they don't have that level of stress. And by the way, Not everybody wants to be financially successful. So some people may not want that stress, and that's okay. They're just not for my company. I don't want anyone in my company that doesn't want to become financially successful and grow. If you don't want to grow, go work for someone else, because I don't need temps. I don't want people where we put all this training and effort in just to see you leave in a year or two. We don't do that. Right now, the next thing, and then Tass, I'm going to throw it to you. People will come to you and say, well, you might have a great teenager where you're like, I got them for 2 years, then they're going to college. And I know they're going to college in 2 years. No, you don't. You don't. Why are they going to college? Well, they want to be an engineer. Why do they want to be an engineer? Well, they love being an engineer. Do they love it more than martial arts? Well, no, they love the martial arts, but engineer is where it's at to make a living. But what if you can make that living financially in the martial arts? Is there a possibility you may want to do this as a career? Let me show you the opportunity you have with us and see if that's even a possibility for you or a consideration. And Tass, you know this. It's not that I talk kids out of college, right? But I sit down with them and I just make sure they're aware of the opportunity, because most people, you included, viewers, you have no idea the career opportunity you have in the martial arts, because most of us in the industry are not making, an unbelievable wage. And before you say, well, it's not about the money for me, why not? It should be. It should be about the money. It should be about the impact on your community. It should be about quality of martial arts training. It should be about giving opportunities to your black belts. But money should be in there. It should be also about the money, right? So you want to be able to do both. I just got done having a meeting with one of my managers, and I said, "Where do you want to be?" They want to be at. Say hi, everybody. It's the Mets Tass. Can you get in there?
Up there, Sil.
There he is. All right. I know, unbelievable, dude. I know. I'll confirm that in a minute. So anyway, the thing is my guys know that there is an opportunity to make over 6 figures in the martial arts, and I give them every opportunity, the pathway, and what I called it was climbing to the top of the mountain. And I'm going to give you all the equipment you need, but you got to climb the mountain. But you're going to have all the equipment, and you're going to have a group of people behind you pushing you up that hill, up that mountain. But not everybody wants to climb the mountain, and that's okay. But then go do something else, because if you don't want to climb the mountain, where's the drive and the work ethic going to come from when there's things that you got to do that you maybe don't love doing, or when things get a little tough? For example, COVID. When COVID hits and I need you in front of a computer screen trying to give education through a computer screen temporarily, where it's exhausting and it's different, what's going to keep you doing that, right? If you don't, what's the motivation? And there's different motivations for different people, but they have to define success to me. And if I can show them how I can give them what they want, I want you in the company if you're a good person, good people, right? So, and by the way, last thing I'll say, people over position. So write this down, everyone. Good people over position. What does that mean? If you have somebody that's just a great person, great work ethic, dependable, trustworthy, there for you, but they don't necessarily want to be tied in an office. They don't want to be just tied on the floor. I'm going to find a position for you. Because I want you. I want good people. So let's figure it out together, but you're going to be a value to this company. I don't know where yet, but you're going to be a value. So people over position, something that I would give you advice on. Go ahead, Tass.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking for people now. Our we've got our ad out. It just says looking for people who show up. That's what our goal is. Are you reading the comments there?
Yeah, I'm trying to hear.
Guys, I'm kidding. But here's what I do know. I know that most of you are held hostage to your team and to your employees. And the reason is because we don't either A, we don't have the people that we want, or B, which is what I would tell you, is we haven't pointed the finger back to us to go learn about leadership, to understand how to manage people, understand how to manage personalities, understand how to be intentional about creating culture, understand all of those things. We don't have a system and a process for doing that. And I'm in that same boat with everybody, right? I'm constantly trying to get better at being a great leader. And being a great leader doesn't mean you're a boss. Being a great leader, it's like the whole concept of, you lay the belt across the floor and the instructor will tell you to push the belt across the floor and the belt will kind of like scrunch together, right? So, or you can pull the belt across the floor. What works better? Well, when you pull it, right? Well, that's the same concept when you're dealing with your team and with your staff. Yeah, there's times that they need to push, but you're going to get a lot more results by pulling them up to that next level. And that's what your goal and that's what your mission has to be as a leader. And that takes intention and it takes a lot of focus on doing that and being that person, as opposed to being the person who's the boss to come in, look at all the things that are going wrong and not be the guy that's looking at things that are going right. And, on the floor, if we had a group of 6-year-old kids on the floor and one's sitting up straight and the other ones are slouched, we're not going to tell everyone that's slouched to sit up straight. That has a negative connotation. It's not going to have nearly the impact or power as saying to the one person, man, I love how you're sitting up straight like a black belt, Johnny. And then everybody wants to sit up straight and be like Johnny. It sounds so rudimentary and trivial, but that same mentality has to be taken into consideration with our teams and with our staff, with everybody. We all love to be pulled up. We all love the recognition. And if we can get focused on that, that's going to be what they're going after, is that recognition on those good things that they're doing. And you won't get tired. Video training, I think, is always very helpful. And I watched a video. This is probably in the last 6 months. I watched a video of a team meeting that I did, and I was disgusted with myself. And I said, you know what? No more. This has got to change. First of all, I don't like watching video of me, anyways, right? But secondarily, is I couldn't believe that that's how I led a team meeting, and I'm probably my own worst critic. But at the same time, it was an aha moment for me. So I would invite you guys to kind of inspect what you expect, number one, but also what would you expect, or how would you expect somebody to treat you, and how would you want to be treated as that team member, and pull them up to that next level. I know when I go to Orlando, and I talk about Orlando all the time because the culture there is so great. There's a lot of joking around. There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of smiling. There's a lot of laughing. But there's also a lot of people getting the job done. And that's what's the most important thing, is everyone's getting the job done. And Met said it, but we don't hire people for a job. We're looking for people that want a career. And that's really, at the end of the day, what we're looking for. And I know it's difficult to find people, and you may need to take that piece of coal that you have, and you need to put some pressure on it, and you may need to take some time and polish it and turn it into a diamond. So, we can find those people. We can develop those people. It is easier when you found people over process, as an example, or people over position, right? Because if you find great people, right, that you don't have to train on, like the character and the wit and the fun and the just being personable, because those are hard things to be able to train sometimes. Someone's got to want to be able to do those things. But when you can find that great person that has those things, and they can build rapport with people, they're naturally likable and things like that, then 100% the position can be taught to anybody. But they're just going to excel with it faster, and you're going to have less challenges with a person like that in your business, because they're just very likable and approachable. That's the key.
All right.
A lot of questions here, man.
Yeah, there's some really good questions here. So look, Mr. Stewart, if the goal is a second location in 2022, do you hire a program director before being ready for? Listen, in the beginning, when I was a smaller school owner, I opened my second and third location with just a really experienced instructor. And they would open up a school till we got to about 50 students. Then I would bring in a part-time program director. But that instructor that I put over there was very experienced at enrolling and running classes. And again, we had the correct schedule. Today, when we open, I have 3 leases right now out. 3 leases we're opening. Like, we didn't even get into next year, but I got on the docket 3 schools opening next year. And we will open those schools with 2 full-time people, a chief instructor and a program director, right out of the gate. But it's because I can afford to, and it's also because we have the system and the formula to explode quickly. The last 2 schools that we opened, at the grand opening, once we had the grand opening, we were at almost 100 students, like right off the bat, right? And that's part of being strategic, where we open it in an area where we're going to take some overflow from another school, and we instantly have some student base. But it's also because we did a grand opening at one of the schools and we enrolled 84 students in one day, new students at our grand opening. So we open with 2 people right out of the gate. Now, if you're going to open a school, we will not open a school when I have a program director and an instructor. I will open another school when I have 2 instructors and 2 program directors. And then I will go open the school, and these 2 will go, and these 2 are still in the wings training. Because if these 2 quit, or if one quits, I got somebody else ready to get plugged right in and be there, instead of being a bind. So we hire 4 people for every school that we're going to open. You have to have bench strength. But that's the answer to your question on there. Now, let's hit this. Our issue is finding competent people to help grow the business when it seems like no one wants to work for a paycheck. Ms. Chapman, it is tough.
Everybody.
Go ahead.
Well, go ahead. I was just saying, not everyone wants to work for a paycheck. I don't mean that to sound like that, but if you take an interview of people and you really find out why they're there, making an impact is a bigger deal for most people than the actual pay that they make. Not that they're going to do it for free, but when you put these things, like, what's the flexibility? What's the impact that they're making? What's the culture like? And pay can come second. I think you guys just did a survey on this, as a matter of fact, can come second or third down in that number. Now, sometimes when we give surveys, we don't know if we're getting the right answers back and honest answers back all the time, right? But at the end of the day, I understand what you're saying, and specifically this year, there seems to be a common thread and a common theme of people kind of laying back right now with all the subsidies and things, and that will all change. That will all change, and people are going to be forced to go back to work. And when they are forced to go back to generate money and make money for the family, you want to provide a great culture and a great place for them to be able to grow with you. That's my take on that. So I don't disagree.
And by the way,
there's other things,
but it's always an issue. It's always tough. That's why you have to be looking for your next staff member as aggressively as you're looking for your next student, because you can't look to hire someone when you need someone. You got to always be looking. And that's why I said, if I find somebody good, I will find a spot for them in our company, because it is tough to find good people in any industry.
That's a great point. That's a great point, Metz, because a lot of times what happens is, and I think we know this, but some of you think, well, I'm not going to put an ad out right now, because if I find someone, what if I don't want to hire? You don't have to hire them. There's a way in a system where you don't have to hire them. You can certainly interview them, but wouldn't it be great if you had a Rolodex of like applications that if you did lose somebody, and what I would be doing is I'd be grading the applications like they're a B minus, a C, a D, whatever. At least if somebody were to leave, I can open up my file and be like, okay, give me all my B's or B pluses. Let me find somebody, and let me start calling those people to see if they're still interested. At least I have someone to call, number one. Number two, like Metzger said, if you find a gem while you do this, while you're fishing, if you get the gem, you keep them, you find a spot for them. But here's what will happen. Most of us won't have that Rolodex. We won't be looking all the time. We lose somebody, and we're going to take that first person that comes to us and says, yes, I will do it. And they may not be the right person. And now you're hiring back for convenience, because you just need to get somebody on your floor now because you don't want to do it, or whatever the reason is. And then over time, you have all of these problems because it's not really the person that you want to begin with. It was someone, it's another Band-Aid that you put in who ends up being long-term because you weren't prepared for it. And this is a vicious cycle that can happen over and over in your school. And that's why you got to have ads out all the time, like you said, looking for great people in your school.
Right. How do you hire instructors if they don't know your style? It takes 5 years to get a black belt in mine. If you do kicks and punches and somebody's a black belt in another style that does kicks and punches and they're good people, you teach them your patterns, your curriculum, and we respect that. We respect that belt if they're decent, right? I mean, if they have skills. It is not the same if you do Taekwondo. You cannot hire a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and train them in your style. It's too different. So, but if it's a stand-up kicking and punching style, teach them your curriculum. Your curriculum doesn't make a good martial artist, right? The person does. And it's all about what order. If you do certain punches or patterns or blocks, if I'm a black belt and I'm a good black belt, I can learn your style. I mean, especially if I'm a good instructor. And the other thing is you don't have to cram your entire style down somebody's throat in the first 3 months. It's like, look, let me just get you competent in the beginner. You're a black belt. I'm going to respect that. You have skills. You kick better than me. You're faster than me. You look great. But let me teach you the beginner curriculum so you can start working with beginners, right? And you start there, and then you start bringing them along. And by the way, we're transparent with people. Like, we're so lucky to have this person. They're going to bring a different little flair to your teaching, to your learning. And we're excited to have him or her. I mean, so we don't do that. Now, I have not done that with like a non-black belt. I've yet to ever hire a non-black belt and try to teach them our system, right? But there's schools that do, but it just depends on what your mission is and what you're trying to accomplish here in your community, as far as,
Well, Matt, goes back to what you were saying before. What you were saying before as well. I mean, if you hire the right people, well, who's part of the right person here? Well, that right person might be, not only they have great charm and charisma and personality, but they're also an athlete, by the way. And that person may be an easier person to put in that position than somebody, obviously, who's got, 2 left feet, so to speak.
Right. Do you post help wanted, or do you find them amongst your members? Do you go outside the school? We always try to hire from within. And when I say that, I mean specifically for instructors. We try to hire from within with students that have been with us, that know our culture, know our system, has been with us for years, are in the leadership. We always do that. However, I will not stifle our growth in our business if I don't have those people. I won't stifle our growth. So I'll put ads out. If you put a help, listen to this, this is a big tip for you guys. If you put a help wanted sign in your school, or if you blatantly broadcast to your members, I'm looking for an office person, I'm looking for a program director to hire, and you have that wacky parent that's been with you for a couple of years, but they're just a little off. Well, when they come in and say, hey, I'd love to work in your office, I want to do it. What are you going to say to them when in a month and a half from now, you found someone else, but it took you a month and a half? It's one thing if you have somebody start in 2 days, you could say, oh, we filled the position already, and somebody's there. But what do you say to that parent when you keep that help wanted sign up for the next month and a half on why you didn't give them a shot? That's the danger of putting the help wanted sign in your school, right?
Right.
And if you hire a parent, from your school and you think they're going to be good and they get in there, remember, they're seeing the back end now. They're seeing your numbers. They're still a parent. And what if it doesn't work out? And it's just not working out in the office, and you got to let them go. Did you just lose a student too? Are they going to talk to other parents saying, oh my gosh, they're just trying to do sales or trying to do, are they going to give you a bad rep? So it's very dangerous hiring parents to work for you, in the school. There's circumstances for sure, but you got to be aware of these things.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then again, same thing. There's a right way and wrong way, right? So some people, when they do that, we like to keep things separate, just throw on the side. But these are all systems that we have. But some people will say, well, then you have them pay tuition, or don't they pay tuition for their child? And there is a period that they're going to pay tuition for. So we separate out. Here's the employee. Here's the team member. Here's what you get paid for that. Here's what you pay for your martial art lessons. Because if things don't work out over those 90 days, well, then they're still paying their martial arts. You're not in this awkward situation of trying to, well, you got to start paying for martial arts lessons again. Then you lose a student over it. So there's all systems for these types of things. What was the next question? White to black. How long if they're a black belt in another style? Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, Mr. Feldman, I think at the end of the day, you need to look at that just like you would anybody, right? And what is a black belt at your school? Are they going to go to black belt faster if they had a black belt in another style? Potentially, if they're similar styles, probably. But those are decisions you're going to have to make at the end of the day.
Let me make it simple. I will always respect somebody's black belt. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you that you're not a real black belt or you didn't deserve that. Right. That's not my job to do that. We have a 3-step interview process. You interview, and we just see what kind of charisma, personality, presence do you have. If we like that, then the second part is, if you're going to be an instructor, you got to go to one of our schools for like 2 to 2.5 hours. And you're going to assist on the floor. You're going to warm up a class, whatever drills you want, whatever drills. We're going to introduce you as a guest instructor. How do you present yourself to the parents, to the students? How do you manage the class? What's your voice inflection? What's your presence on the mat? But also, what's your skill level? Now, after that, we will let you know if there will be a third interview. There will not be if you didn't get through that second one where we just don't think it's a fit. So you can be a black belt for 25 years. Or you could be a black belt and you just got your black belt yesterday. But at the end of the day, we're going to see. And if it meets our criteria, we'll hire you, that's it. So I don't care how long it took you to get your black belt, because if you went through it, you'll probably not meet our criteria as far as your skill level on what we're looking for. I mean, in a nutshell. Okay.
And some of you will do the same thing that I just did recently, right? Because we were looking to build our team, and then you get desperate and you're trying just to build your team. And I think Ms. Chapman brought it up here as well. Can't get people to show up for your scheduled interviews. I get it. I had 6 or 7 different people, and I had 2 people that showed up. I ran the guy through. We did the deal. He got on the floor, and he was horrible. And I was trying to justify, we could fix him. He wasn't the right person. He wasn't the right person. So you got to, even though we're giving you guys all these processes, right? Because I've made the mistakes, because I've been in a position where we've been desperate. We're looking for bench strength. We're looking for growth. We want to do that. And we're just taking anybody that comes in, because we feel like it's so hard to get people. So even if you get a person in and they're the wrong person at a point in that interview, you just let them go. Don't take them to the next step of the interview. It takes discipline to do that, because you want to find this is a process about finding the right people. And when you have the right people, go back to that last one, Metz, that you just had up there, Marvin Walker. You changed manager 7 months ago. Everything's changed from 5,000, 8,000 monthly to 30,000 to 40,000 every month. That's the power of having the right people. We just had that conversation yesterday.
And I don't think he's paying them $250,000 a year. So I'm thinking he's making out on that deal.
Right on.
Now, growing a team also requires pruning. Can you give us a little example of your pruning process, knowing that you will lose a student? How do you keep that all together? What do you mean by that, Mr. Weaver? Like, when we hire a parent and we get rid of them and we know we're going to lose a student, or what do you mean about that? Growing a team also requires pruning. I have a team member that needs to meet Jimmy Hoffa, but the rest of the family is really cool and I don't want to lose them. Do you have any friends in the industry that provides a service? No, but private message me. No, be teasing.
Yeah.
So I have a team member that needs to meet you. Okay, but the rest of the family is really cool. Oh, so he has somebody working for him that may be a little bit not good. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, it's tough. I mean, you just got to let him know that look, we want to make sure that we give everybody an opportunity to be as successful as possible and happy as possible. And I don't think this is the right fit. I think that you'd be better somewhere else in the work area, in working, because it's not fitting here on the work front. And by the way, Mr. Weaver, depending on how bad the team member is, if I'm going to lose 5 members, I'm going to lose 5 members, because depending on what they're doing or how bad they are, I may be losing 50 members over the next year by keeping them. So you got to know when you need to cut ties. You got to know that. I mean, there's nothing about
for sure. No, I was going to add on, but it's not fun. You got to keep your numbers. Got to do your stats. Yeah.
I really dislike him. Then it's not working. You gotta change it. You gotta make the move and just change it. Period.
And here's what I will tell you. Metzger and I have had many conversations like this about whether it's a particular team member or somebody in general, right? Like, if you find yourself continually to talk about the person, it's just mentally exhausting. It's time for them to be done. It's time to make a change. Let me put it that way. It's time to make a change, right? So whatever change that is, it's time to make a change. And I promise you, every time we think it's going to affect us in one way, it actually is a huge weight lifted from our shoulder, and we always propel forward. I mean, I can tell you it's just happened twice in the last 3 months, and we've gone leaps and bounds forward. So just something to consider as well.
Hey, if you guys if you can afford $99, join us tomorrow on the Academy Intensive with myself, Mr. Tassoul here, and Miss Chris Rodriguez. The 3 of us are leading a virtual seminar tomorrow from 9 Eastern to 4 Eastern. And it will be recorded if you couldn't stay on there the whole time. But there's going to be breakout rooms. It's going to be interactive. And it's $99. And if Shelby or Perry or Chris or anyone's watching, if you want to post up the link, because I'd love to get you guys on there tomorrow. Again, 9 to 4 Eastern time, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. But we're going to cover a lot of great things. And by the way, it's right here. We have the workbook you're going to get too. So you're going to get the 2022 Academy Intensive Live workbook. And look at there. There's the 3 of us. But 9 to 4, if you guys want to get some things that, again, if you can watch it all tomorrow and be interactive and be in the breakout rooms, great. But it's also something to do over the break, where you can watch this and take it in sections. But here's an outline of the day, by the way. Oh, there's a lunch break in there, Tass. Thank God.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do. I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but you're very grainy.
I've always been told.
I mean, yeah, your camera too.
Anyway, guys, tomorrow, here you go. It's $99, 9 to 4. If you get anything out of these little Mets Tassoul shows, I think you'll get something out of, 9 a.m. to 4 with a lunch break in there. But there you go. I just joined. What is the webinar about? Well, this webinar was about how to develop and grow a team, team, staff, and team members. And I would say go to the beginning of this. But this will be about just making sure you're off to an unbelievable start for 2022. So great, sir. Congrats. I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow. So anyway, guys, I hope you have an unbelievable holiday and a happy new year. And we'll be back after the new year. And, one of the things too, when we talk about financial success in the business, I'm grateful that I can shut down all of our schools. Tuesday, the 21st, is our last day. And my team will not come back until January 5th, a Wednesday. They're going to get 2 solid weeks and full pay that whole time. All of our salary people get full pay. And that makes me really happy. and I'm going to enjoy my vacation knowing that my team's going to enjoy their vacation. And then we'll be back at it in the new year. So, oh, sorry, guys. Correct link. Here you go. There it is. That's the link. If you guys want to join our Academy Intensive Live tomorrow from 9 to 4 Eastern Time, please do. We're going to cover a lot of things tomorrow, and it will be recorded. So if you can watch a little bit and then come back to it, or over the break, watch, get some notes, and get ready for 2022, we would love for you to be in that program. And by the way, Shelby says, my bad on the wrong link, but this is the link. It's no problem, Shelby. So there's the link if you want to sign up for tomorrow for our Academy Intensive tomorrow with myself.
Do you have any topics that are in that book?
What's that?
Give me a topic or two. What are we doing tomorrow?
Turning prospects into profits.
Okay.
Focus on the foundations, the appointment accelerator, controlling the flow of your academy, dojo downtime into big profits. And by the way, here's the workbook. Like, here's all the stuff, right? The momentum game plan.
Very cool.
Focus on the foundations, so guys, $99. If you can invest that, you think it might generate you more than $99 from anything you earn there anytime during 2022, well, then it's an investment. And you all know you're going to learn something here that will make you an extra $99 than what you would have made anyway, right?
I thought you were going to say, and you also all know that would be a tax deduction for 2021. So you might as well do it and buy 3 while you're at it and gift 2 to friends.
There it is.
All right,
man. Anything else, Tass?
No, we got big graduation tomorrow night after the Academy Intensive, and busy time of year for us right now. But same thing, Friday night we're graduating, and then we're off till the 3rd as well. So, but we got lots to do between now and then in the next 48 hours. So,
all right,
Miss Sarah, exciting stuff.
Happy New Year to you as well. It was great seeing you a couple of weeks ago here with Mr. Maliki. So, thank you guys. Happy holidays. Look forward to seeing you guys back come January. And we got great things planned for the show come next year. Really good things. We're excited about what we're going to do that I think is going to really motivate and give you guys insight on a lot of stuff. So.
I hear you. Yeah, for sure. It'll be
good.
All
right, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, team. Appreciate it. Yep. Have a great holiday, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mets.
Thanks, Tass.